there's a few tricks that I used to do in auditioning, because sometimes they'll go, learn these 83 pages and come in tomorrow and audition. And you're like, fucking hell, why do I, like, that's too much sometimes. Like 20, sometimes 20 pages. So I would like, well, I'm just going to say I only got 2 scenes rather than the 5. I'm gonna know those 2 scenes unbelievably well, and then go, oh, there must have been, and then just blame the backroom staff and go, really sorry, my agent didn't get this to me, I didn't know anything about it. And then obviously, if you have read those scenes through, you can then say, why don't you give me the sheets for a minute? I'll look over it and I'll do that, because then you've done 2 really great auditions, hopefully, and then you do a fantastic cold read of something that you haven't seen, and they then hopefully go, this guy's all right. Have something to say. Have something that you might criticize about this. Have one thing you say that you love about the script, and have also conversely one thing that you're posing a question back at them, so that it's more of a conversation rather than you sitting there just going, oh God, oh God. And that way they're like, well, he's read it, he's intrigued, he's, you can't just sit there and just say and be a yes man. And remember, you have to deal with the nerves as well. So I always remember I would write a little note to myself and have it as my screensaver or something, just before I went in, and like literally, it's just things like either a piece of writing from a book that I found particularly inspiring, or just go and fucking get the job, dude. You can do this. Just trust yourself. Trust your instinct. I mean, stupid, really, but and anything you can do to give yourself a little G up, because it's still an unnerving process now. I mean, I go in less, but it tends to be when they do get us all in for an audition, and I'm hardly anywhere near the top, but it's for something really good and really important. And so I'm always transported back to those early days where I'm like, oh Christ. And nerves are good. It's just, nerves don't work very well if you're not particularly prepared. When I'm prepping for a job, I'm like, what are the scenes that scare the shit out of me? Scenes that scare the shit out of me are always scenes of intimacy and proper intimacy and big speeches. And so if you have a speech, I tend to be drawn to that first, because that will, dependent upon who you're giving the speech to, is it to an audience, is it to one person, is it to yourself because you're talking to yourself in the mirror, whatever it is, I go there first, because then I learn the rhythm of the character, and then therefore the voice comes. But then I'll tackle that first, and then I'll go about my way of, and if you've got a couple of months, I don't spend the whole day in the house as that character. It's bite-sized stuff. So you start off with something very simple, like, oh, how does he make cheese on toast? One of those people that has Worcester sauce. I don't know. And I know it sounds really banal and stupid, but it's just armory, so that when you turn up, you've done this. You've done it a load of times. You know who you are. And effectively, if we're really, really breaking it down, if you're examining psychology and you're playing someone from Dublin, and you are from Dublin, you're effectively most of the time being asked to play, and I'm very wary of saying, you're asked to be playing a version of yourself. And effectively, we've only got one voice and one face, so we're always playing a version of ourselves. Now, when you're playing, so when I'm playing Uncle Charlie in Stoker, it's the way that I think has different rhythms to how I am, but effectively it's still just another version of, it's a really fucked up version, but it's another version of me. It's not being lazy not to give yourself a backstory, because who gives a shit? But so that you have that extra layer of armory again. Let's say you're playing Susan. Susan has 4, or Michael, because there's 2 sexes here, in a film, and you only have 3 scenes. There's no reason why, and we don't know a fucking thing about their life, and maybe they don't constitute hugely to the story. There's still no reason for you to know where you're born, what school you went to, who a few of your friends were. You can kind of cheat and just be like, well, I went to the same school I went to, or whatever. But if you give yourself a little bit of thought, then you're I think personally, I think it'll elevate your performance. Even if it's just by minutia, you become more that person, because you know, feel like if your director asked you that question, you could know the fucking answer. And Desert Island Discs, by the way, this is another tangential, but that is a really, really wonderful tool. It's been going for 40 years. It's hardly what I call a trade secret. I just love the program. But there are nurses, and doctors, and fucking across the gamut. So if you're playing one of those characters, and then there's 2,500 Desert Island Discs, you can listen to someone and think, wow, he's really cool. Or like, he's a doctor. He's a bit similar to my part, maybe. I like the way he thinks. I like the way, and then you suddenly you can base something on people. I mean, we have the internet. We've got YouTube. You can look up, oh, I'm playing a hick from Alabama. Find some interviews from someone in Alabama. But certainly, what I like about Desert Island Discs is it reveals a little bit of the inner life of real people. I always act as if I'm in close-up. That's the way that I do it. But I'm not a master of the dark arts necessarily. So, and that's within reason, obviously, because the thing about when you're in really close is that you end up dropping the volume slightly, and it's been so. People are sort of like, sometimes people do it so softly, you actually sort of feel yourself leaning forward to actually into the TV screen to actually listen to them. But ostensibly, the idea is that the closer you come in, the smaller you take things. But my thing is, I just do the same thing. I just forget lens and just go for truth. That's my thing. And like the best thing you ever have, when you can get hold of them, but particularly if they're a good actor, is the pools of someone else's eyes, because that is connection. And it's very powerful. And you don't necessarily use it all the time, but if you're in close proximity with someone talking about something very bit of death or whatever, something that's hugely important to the two of you. And again, it's like give your director something to. Oftentimes, some of the really great bits of direction I've seen have been and Woody does this a lot as well. Is like someone will be in a dinner, not often with Woody, it'll be a dinner party, and someone will have a fucking monologue over here and have worked their ass off on it, and he's just done a slow push in on one of the other people who's listening to it, not listening to it, fidgeting, whatever. So listening is 90% of it. I mean, it really is, because it's fabulous to. Oftentimes, there may be doing a film with someone who, let's face it, is a little bit shit and out of their depth, and you get to give your director everything on this side. Like he said, give them. He's just always in it. Thinking is the entire part. Thinking is, I think you can see it when really brilliant actors are on screen doing very little. Colin Firth is very good at this, actually. There are many. I pull him out because I remember working with him on Single Man and thinking, wow, there's a very rich internal life that you're able to convey to me with doing absolutely nothing. And that's the secret of screen acting. And it comes back to that slightly blasé thing that Marlon Brando said, is like, where someone said, oh my God, that scene on the waterfront was just sensational. What were you thinking about? He goes, oh, my shopping list. And I don't know if that's true or not, but if you're thinking, it reads. If you're really good friends with someone, it shows on screen. Or if you have history with someone, it shows. I mean, for better or for worse sometimes. But so if you don't know someone and you are playing their wife or a sister or a brother, you have to go out. You need to spend some time where, like, it could just be a meal, like create something. So you have a history. You need tangible history in reality, so that for me, that it certainly helps me, so that you can fake it, yeah. But if it's real in real life, and you really like the person, and you're having a laugh, it feeds into everything we see. In fact, actually, Tom Hanks, I was listening to Tom Hanks' Desert Island just the other day. And he says that, when he first started out, he was working on like a Shakespeare festival. And he said, very luckily, someone took him aside and said, these are the rules. You just have to, everyone has their own fucking process. And you have to be unbelievably, even if they're a dick, you have to let them have their space and work in the way that they want to do. Which is why when you work with someone who's a method actor, even if it's unbelievably selfish and boring and fucking, they're rude or whatever, you got to pretend their name's Adrian and you got to feed him bananas, whatever the fuck you got to do. You got to do it. They say they don't, but people get cast now because they have XYZ amount of followers. And I know for a fact that you have to pay The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. You got to pay The Rock an extra $dollars because of his Twitter account. And he's monetified it. And I kind of understand that when you've got 100 million followers. I think the less someone knows about you, the better as an actor. But I don't take a stance on it either way because I know that it's been very enriching for some people. And it is a way of reaching the audience. I don't like having direct contact with an audience. You have a camera. You've got a camera on your computer or whatever. So you could make a film. You can make a fucking film on these things now. Park Chan-wook I worked with, he actually shot an incredible film. Yes, he did it with a special contraption where he was able to put lenses on. But it's an astonishing piece of filmmaking about a South Korean fable that's very moving. So if you're really worried and stifled and want to do something, pick up a book of monologues and film yourself doing monologues that are really quite difficult to do for camera, as I said, like Shakespeare or whatever. And test yourself because no one has to see it. And you can work on your own craft from home. You can do I can set it up over there and say, right, what am I going to do? Okay, I'm a serial killer. Great. Some of my favorite parts. What on screen could look interesting as a serial killer? I mean, this is pretty basic. It would be a close-up. Hang on. There you go. Start, I don't know. It's maybe a shaky hand. Something like, I don't know. Get filmic. Maybe put it down. Maybe put it down for a second. Shaky hand bottle. Maybe he's not shaky hand at all. Maybe he's gleeful. Okay, yeah. I'm going to fucking slit that throat. I'm just going to make sure it doesn't hurt him too much there. Because I want to be clinical about it. So do you know what I mean? World's your fucking oyster. I mean, there's an element of people who are like, oh, fuck, man, I'm so this is a real opportunity. You can do whatever the fuck you want.